Sometimes we want God to move when we're ready, not when He's ready. We put our plans on the calendar and expect everything to fall into place exactly the way we imagine. But I'm here to tell you, God's timing is never late, and it is always perfect. You see, the problem is not that God is slow. The problem is that our faith is often too small to wait. We want quick fixes, instant answers, and fast breakthroughs. But God is working behind the scenes, preparing you for something far greater than you can see. When the door stays shut, it's not a no, it's a not yet. When the phone doesn't ring, it's not a rejection, it's a redirection. The waiting room is not a place of defeat, it's the place of divine preparation. While you're waiting, God is building your character, sharpening your vision, and strengthening your spirit. And I know waiting can feel like the hardest season of all. You wonder, how long, Lord? Why does it have to take so long? But every delay is a lesson, every pause is a purpose, and every moment is a move closer to what God promised. Look at the great men and women of the Bible. They didn't get their break through the moment they prayed for it. Abraham waited decades for the promise of a son. Moses wandered in the wilderness for 40 years before leading his people to freedom. David was anointed king, but waited years before taking the throne. If the waiting was good enough for them, then it's good enough for you. God's timing is about the right moment, the right season, the right place. He's not just interested in giving you what you want. He's committed to giving you what you need, what is best for your life and your purpose. So, don't rush, don't quit, and don't give in to impatience. The enemy will try to make you believe the delay means God has forgotten you. But God's timing is a perfect orchestration, like a master composer who waits for the exact note, the perfect harmony to deliver a symphony. Sometimes the delay is God's way of protecting you from something you're not ready for, or from what could harm you. Sometimes it's to test your faith, to see if you will trust Him even when you don't understand. And friend, if you can learn to trust God in the waiting, you will receive your blessing with a testimony that will inspire generations. When you start to get discouraged, remind yourself that the process is producing something powerful inside you. The waiting is working for your good. You may not see the full picture now, but that's okay, God does. He sees your heart, He knows your prayers, and He's working out His perfect plan. So instead of focusing on the clock, focus on your faith. Instead of measuring time, measure your trust. Hold on a little longer. The breakthrough you've been praying for is coming, and it will be worth every second of the wait. Remember this, God's timing is always best, and when He moves with power, purpose, and precision. So keep your eyes on Him. Keep your heart hopeful, and keep your faith strong, because your waiting season is about to turn into your winning season. Sometimes, life's hardest moments feel like a storm that's breaking you instead of making you. You find yourself asking, why am I going through this? Why does it hurt so much? But hear me when I say this. Those struggles, those trials, those valleys, you are not walking through them by accident. They are not punishment or random misfortune. No, they are the workshop where God is shaping you, the furnace where He is refining you, the training ground where He is preparing you for your destiny. You see, God doesn't just bless the strong, He strengthens the blessed. When you face difficulty, it's God's way of building resilience inside you, something you cannot get from comfort or ease. It's in the hard places that your character is being tested and proven. Just like gold must go through fire to become pure, you have to go through the fire of adversity to become who God created you to be. Many times, the pain you feel is the process you need. It's the necessary preparation for promotion. The Bible tells us that Joseph was betrayed, beaten, and thrown into prison, but he was being prepared to save nations. David faced giants, rejection, and exile, but he was being prepared to become a king. And just like them, your suffering is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your breakthrough. The enemy wants you to believe that pain is pointless, but God says, no, it has a purpose. When you are weak, God's strength is made perfect in you. The process stretches you, shapes you, and makes you more like Christ. It teaches you patience when you want to rush, humility when you want to boast, and faith when you want to fear. You will come out of this place stronger, wiser, and more equipped than you ever imagined. Sometimes we want to skip the pain, the struggle, the hard lessons. But those are the very things that prepare you for greater responsibility and greater blessing. Without the process, you won't appreciate the promise. Without the struggle, you won't recognize the victory. The process is what makes the promise meaningful. So don't despise the hard times. Don't give up when the road gets rough. Instead, lean into God's refining fire. Let it burn away the things that don't belong: doubt, fear, impatience, and let His Spirit build up the things that will carry you forward. Know that every trial is working together for your good and His glory. When you feel overwhelmed, remind yourself that the pain has a purpose. The delay has a design. The struggle is part of your story's preparation. And when you get through this, you will stand taller, walk stronger, and shine brighter because of what you endured. Your process is producing power, and your pain is paving the way to your purpose. So stay faithful in the furnace. Stay hopeful in the hardship. God is not wasting your pain. He is using it. And in due time, you will see that every tear, every trial, every struggle was necessary to get you to the blessing waiting on the other side. Sometimes life throws things at us that seem designed to break us. Betrayal, disappointment, loss, they hit us hard, and it's easy to feel like the enemy has won. But I'm here to tell you that what the enemy means for evil, God uses for good. Yes, the very things that were intended to destroy you are the very things God is turning around to bless you with. The devil might plot and plan, but he can't outsmart the God who holds the universe in his hands. When you get betrayed by someone you trusted, don't allow bitterness to take root. Instead, know that God is redirecting your path, protecting you from something that was never meant for your destiny. When doors close abruptly, it's not rejection, it's divine redirection. Sometimes the detour feels like a dead end, but in God's plan, it's a new beginning. The enemy may mean to harm you, but God's purpose is always to prosper you and give you hope. Look at Joseph's story. His brothers sold him into slavery, meant for harm, but God meant it for something greater. Because of that betrayal, Joseph was placed in Egypt, eventually rising to power and saving nations from famine. His suffering was not wasted. It was the foundation for his promotion. That's the principle at work in your life, too. What seems like a setback is actually a setup for your breakthrough. The enemy will try to convince you that your pain is pointless, that your loss is permanent. But God's word tells us differently. God promises that He works all things together for good for those who love Him. That means every tear you shed, every door slammed in your face, every moment you thought you'd never recover, All of it is being woven into a tapestry of victory. Your story is far from over. When the enemy plans destruction, God plans deliverance. When the enemy sends storms, God sends shelter. When the enemy whispers lies, God shouts truth. This is not just hope. It's a guarantee. You must hold on to this truth, especially when circumstances look dark. Your pain has purpose. Your struggle has meaning, and your loss is only temporary. So don't give the enemy any ground in your heart. Don't let bitterness take root. Instead, surrender your hurt to God and watch how He transforms it into testimony. The very thing that tried to destroy you will become the story that inspires others. The place of betrayal will become the platform of blessing. When life feels like it's working against you, remember this: God is working for you. What the enemy meant for evil, God is turning around for your good. Your breakthrough is coming, your blessing is on the way, and when it arrives, you'll know without a doubt that God's plan is always best. Too many times, we limit God by the size of our own vision. We look at our circumstances, our talents, and our past, and we decide what is possible. But I'm here to tell you today, God's plan is always bigger than your vision. When you think you've seen it all, God is preparing to do something you never imagined. When you feel boxed in by your current reality, God is about to open doors that will take you into new dimensions of blessing and purpose. The problem is that we often settle for what we can see and understand. We set goals based on what seems reasonable, not what seems miraculous. We accept comfort zones that keep us safe but limit our growth. But God did not create you to live small, to think small, or to settle for less. He created you for greatness. He created you to dream bigger dreams and to walk in the fullness of His purpose. Your vision might be limited by fear, doubt, or past failures, but God's vision is limitless, rooted in His infinite power and wisdom. When you trust Him, He will take what you have, your small idea, your little faith, your brokenness, and multiply it beyond measure. Don't underestimate what God can do through you when you open your heart and surrender your plans to Him. The Bible is full of people who were called to far greater things than they ever imagined. David was a shepherd boy who became a king. Esther was a young woman who became a queen and saved a nation. Peter was a fisherman who became a world changer. They didn't achieve their destiny by settling for what was comfortable or familiar. They dared to dream God's bigger dream for their lives. You might be standing at the crossroads, wondering which path to take. Don't choose the path just because it looks safe or easy. Choose the path God is calling you to, even if it's unfamiliar or challenging, because God's plan will take you places your vision never dreamed of. And while your vision might get tired, God's vision never grows weary. There is a greater purpose waiting for you, one that will stretch your faith and deepen your joy. The blessings God has for you are not limited by your past mistakes or your current limitations. They are waiting on the other side of your trust and obedience. So, don't settle for the shadow when God is offering the full light. Don't settle for a glimpse when God wants to give you the whole picture. Keep your eyes on Him, not on your circumstances. Dream big, believe bigger, and step out in faith. Because when you align your vision with God's plan, you will see miracles, breakthroughs, and blessings that will blow your mind. Remember, God's plan is always bigger, better, and beyond what you can ask or imagine. It's time to stop thinking small and start living large in the destiny God has for you. Your best days are ahead, and they are greater than you ever dreamed. Faith is not just believing when everything is clear and visible. Faith is trusting God even when you can't trace His hand or see the full picture. Sometimes life places you in situations that don't make sense. Doors close without explanation. Prayers seem unanswered. The path ahead looks dark and uncertain. But faith means holding on when your feelings tell you to let go. Faith means standing firm when doubt tries to shake you. Faith means believing God's heart even when you don't understand His ways. It's easy to trust God when the sun is shining and the road is smooth. But true faith is tested and proven in the storms. It's in the silence when God feels far away that you must hold on the tightest. You must believe that God is working behind the scenes, even if you can't see it with your natural eyes. The promise is still true, the plan is still unfolding, and God's love for you never changes. Many times, we want to see the entire plan before we take the first step. We want God to give us all the answers, to remove every obstacle, and to make the path perfectly clear. But that's not how faith works. Faith is taking the step even when the next step isn't visible yet. It's trusting God's character, His faithfulness, and His promises. It's saying, I don't know the way, but I trust the one who does. When Abraham was called to leave everything familiar and go to a land he didn't know, he didn't have a detailed roadmap. He just had faith in God's promise. That faith made him a father of nations. When Peter stepped out of the boat onto the stormy sea, he was walking on water by faith. But the moment he focused on the waves instead of Jesus, he began to sink. That's why faith is not about what you see. It's about whom you trust. So many people miss out on their destiny because they want to see before they believe. But God is asking you to believe before you see. He is calling you to trust Him in the mystery, to walk by faith and not by sight. It's not about understanding every detail. It's about trusting the one who holds all the details. Even when your circumstances seem impossible, even when the doctors say no, even when your resources are limited, faith says, God can do what I can't. Faith says, God's plan is better than my plan. Faith says, I trust you, Lord, even when I don't understand. So hold fast to your faith today. When the night is dark and the path unclear, remember that God is still working. His plan is still perfect. And your faith, even the smallest spark, is enough to move mountains. Keep believing, keep trusting, keep stepping forward, even when you can't see the whole way, because God's plan is always best, and those who trust Him will never be disappointed. There's something powerful about knowing that the God who started a good work in you is faithful to finish it. When life feels unfinished, when your dreams seem halfway there, your goals unfulfilled, and your prayers still unanswered, it's easy to feel discouraged. But I'm here to remind you today that God never abandons His projects. You are a masterpiece in progress, and the same God who breathed life into your purpose is committed to bringing it to completion. Sometimes the journey feels long, the process feels slow, and the waiting seems endless. You wonder if you're ever going to get to that place you've been believing for. But don't forget God's timing is perfect. He's not rushed, and He's not careless. Every step you take, every challenge you face, every victory you experience is a part of the masterpiece He is creating in your life. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. The good work God started is still going on. Even when you feel weak, even when you stumble, even when you fall, His grace is sufficient to lift you back up. It's not about how fast you move or how perfect you are. It's about faithfulness, yours to keep trusting, and His to keep working. The God who began this journey with you will not quit on you halfway through. Remember the story of Paul, who said that God who began a good work in the believers would bring it to completion. That same God is working in you right now, shaping your character, aligning your circumstances, opening doors, and closing others, all with one purpose: to bring you into the fullness of what He had planned for you. You may not see it all yet, but it is coming. Sometimes you may feel like giving up. You may feel like your breakthrough is delayed, or that your efforts are in vain. But this is the moment to hold on tighter. This is the moment to trust God more deeply, because God's promise to finish what He started is not based on your performance. It's based on His faithfulness. He is a God of completion, not abandonment. You have to believe that no matter what you've been through, no matter what mistakes you've made, no matter how many times you've fallen, God's grace is still working in you. Your story is still being written. The chapters ahead are filled with hope, victory, and purpose. The ending will be glorious because the author of your life has not finished writing it yet. So, keep pressing, keep believing, keep moving forward. The good work God started in you is going to come to pass. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. Your destiny is unfolding even now. Trust Him to finish what He began. Because when God completes a work, it is perfect, powerful, and purposeful. Hold on to that promise today. God's plan is always best, and He will never leave you halfway through the journey.